An 82-year-old grandmother held a burglar at gunpoint. Two separate instances of hit and run leaves one man dead and a child in intensive care. And an alleged murderer pleads not guilty in court, and it all happened this week. Welcome everyone to This Week. I'm Sean Allen. For the next half hour, we'll catch you up on news you may have missed and give you updates on the week that was in your hometown. A Floyd County man is behind bars after being caught red-handed attempting to burglarize a McDowell residence. It happened Wednesday when the 82-year-old female homeowner came home while the alleged burglar was still on her property. The suspect was then held at gunpoint by the homeowner until authorities arrived. 34-year-old Michael Dale Hagans was arrested and then found to be in possession of a few items belonging to the gun-packing granny. He faces charges of second-degree burglary and possession of drug paraphernalia. Hagans is no stranger to legal troubles, as he was recently released from jail December 1st of 2016 after serving nearly 8 months for drug-related charges. Kentucky State Police is investigating a shooting that left a Floyd County woman injured last weekend. Police received a call around 10 o'clock Friday night of a female being treated for gunshot wounds at Highlands Regional Medical Center. Upon investigating, officers were able to conclude that a woman had been shot multiple times by a male subject in the driveway of a residence in the German Bridge area of Cow Creek. A person of interest was detained on an unrelated warrant. Kentucky State Police will now present their evidence to a grand jury. Troopers from Post 9 responded to a collision on Route 979 in the T-Berry community around 10 o'clock last Saturday night. Larry Hinkle of T-Berry was struck by a vehicle while walking along the side of Route 979 and pronounced dead at the scene by Floyd County Coroner Greg Nelson. The operator of the vehicle is unknown at this time. The incident remains under investigation. Another incident of hit and run, this time involving 3 pedestrians, remains under investigation as we have seen continuing developments throughout the week. It happened Monday afternoon on Kentucky 302 near the Lancer Red Lights, or what is more commonly known as the four-way stop at Jenny Wiley Village. Police say a vehicle left the roadway hitting 2 adults and a child. One of those adults was flown to a local hospital and the other 2 transported by ambulance. The 2-year-old child was later flown to Cabell Huntington Hospital and placed in the pediatric intensive care unit. 2 people were arrested in connection to the incident, 29-year-old Michael Sanders and 29-year-old Shauna Sanders, both of Prestonsburg. Tuesday, during the couple's arraignment, Michael Sanders pleaded guilty to the DUI charges. Upon further investigation by Sergeant Kevin Shepard of the Floyd County Sheriff's Department, additional charges were placed on Sanders.
Following upon the car wreck that occurred on July 3rd around 1800 on 302, through the investigation, more charges were placed on Mr. Sanders. At this time, he's looking at also an additional charge of assault first, which is a felony, 2 misdemeanors, assault fourth, and also failure of owner to maintain required insurance also was placed on Mr. Sanders. Due to the severity of the injuries on the 2-year-old child, the assault first was the charge that we had come up with through the investigation.
According to the 2-year-old child's mother, her condition has improved. A Pike County woman accused of murdering a West Virginia man was arraigned in Pike Circuit Court Wednesday. 31-year-old Jennifer Blankenship of Turkey Creek pleaded not guilty to charges of murder, abuse of a corpse, and other charges in the death of Sam Kimberlane, a man in his late 60s with whom Blankenship was romantically involved. Blankenship allegedly killed Kimberlane and buried his body in a shallow grave behind her residence. She was indicted last week along with Okie Hinkle, who is charged with tampering with evidence and abuse of a corpse. Hinkle also pleaded not guilty. Pike Commonwealth's attorney recommended large bonds for both Blankenship and Hinkle and implied that additional felony charges could be filed against Blankenship in relation to Kimberlane's death.
And there is a receiving stolen property charge that she's also indicted on that could turn into a theft case or could turn into a robbery case, frankly. As of right now, it's just receiving stolen property, but this is from the named victim, and additional investigation is ongoing on that issue.
Jennifer Blankenship was ordered held on a $250,000 cash bond. Okie Hinkle was ordered held on a $25,000 cash bond. Both remain in custody of the Pike County Detention Center and are scheduled to appear in court again in September. The Prestonsburg Fire Department was called to a structure fire Thursday afternoon at Collins Hollow Road on the left fork of Abbott Creek Road. Kentucky State Police were also on scene. 48-year-old Tony Pack of a nearby residence on Collins Hollow Road has been charged with second-degree arson and burglary. He was arrested later Thursday night and booked into the Floyd County Detention Center. He's being held without bond. EKB News will bring you further details regarding circumstances surrounding the incident as soon as they become available. With fugitive former disability attorney Eric C. Kahn still on the run, many of his former clients continuing to lose benefits and questioning if they will ever see any of the $31 million awarded to them after Kahn was found civilly liable in a 2011 whistleblower lawsuit. Prestonsburg attorney Ned Pillersdorf, who represented many of Kahn's former clients, held an informational meeting Thursday to warn of possible scammers targeting them and what they can expect from the hearing scheduled for Friday regarding the malpractice insurer's refusal to pay the $1.5 million in coverage and clear up any misconceptions.
The real problem right now today is the interim benefits. We currently have 200 cases pending in U.S. district courts. We have Judge Tapar ruling that these hearings are unconstitutional. Other judges, Judge Reeves, has ruled they were constitutional. The problem right now is these people are not getting interim benefits, and we just got some rulings in from the Sixth Circuit who have consolidated all these cases. But we're not going to get a final ruling from the Sixth Circuit probably in a year. And these people need to know it'll be a year, and with the exception of the people who ended up in front of Judge Tapar, they're not getting any benefits. And it's really hitting home, and we need to reassure these people that they're not being abandoned, that I predict, I think we're eventually going to win this battle in the Sixth Circuit.
If you think the continuing saga of fugitive former disability attorney Eric C. Kahn is the type of story in which anything can happen, there is more fuel to add to that fire. As I mentioned, Friday was the day that Floyd Circuit Judge Johnny Ray Harris was set to decide whether Kahn's malpractice insurer would be forced to pay a $1.5 million settlement to former clients who brought a class action lawsuit against Kahn. But that decision was put on hold when a deer ran out in front of a car carrying the attorney representing the insurance company as he was on his way to court in Prestonsburg. You seriously cannot make this stuff up. Those waiting in court were told the car was likely totaled and the attorney would not be able to attend the hearing. Regardless of the judge's decision in the case, the matter is likely far from settled as the losing party is expected to appeal. And if the clients ultimately prevail in the lawsuit, there is still a matter of deciding how to divide that money. Coming up, an inmate finds freedom while incarcerated, and the Floyd County Fiscal Court can breathe a sigh of relief. I'll explain when we return to This Week.
Pikeville Medical Center's vision services now include an optometry clinic. In partnership with the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Optometry, PMC provides diagnosis and treatment of eye conditions for the whole family. The optometry clinic is conveniently located on the 9th floor of the PMC clinic. Schedule an appointment today. Call 606-218-2209. Pikeville Medical Center, providing quality eye care to the region.
Drivers, start your engine! Load up the family and head on over to the Lonesome Pine Raceway in Coburn, Virginia. Lonesome Pine Raceway has brought excitement to race fans for 45 years and is NASCAR sanctioned. Gates open at 4 p.m. on race days with races beginning at 7 p.m. Admission is $10 adults and children under 12 free. Lonesome Pine Raceway, Coburn, Virginia. Visit thepineraceway.com for race information.
You want to feel connected, at one with your world. Informed, included, and inspired. So no matter where you are, when important things happen, we're here at all hours, in the moment, on every screen in your life. Your local TV and radio broadcasters. We investigate and inform. give back to the community, build the local economy, even save lives. America's #1 source for news, weather, and information. And unlike any other news source, we're here. 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 And here. We are broadcasters, always here for you, wherever here may be. Text TV to 52886. Tell Washington local stations matter.
Officials in Floyd County are breathing a sigh of relief after a $2 million sword hanging over their heads was removed. Late last week, the fiscal court learned that Appalachian Racing had paid off the $2.2 million bond the county held on Thunder Ridge Raceway. With that development, Appalachian Racing now owns the entire 50-acre property. Previously, the county owned 15 acres containing the parking area and the grandstand. The future of the facility remains uncertain, but County Judge Executive Ben Hale says the county's future is rosier now that it no longer has to worry about that bond.
When we don't have the severance tax and the mineral tax that we had in the years past, obviously we're off about $4.5 million right now from what it used to be. So if you can't raise those same revenues that you were able to do in years past, then what do? You try to reduce your indebtedness, and hopefully you can do the same thing through other sources. So it's a relief. Quite honestly, it gives us different capabilities of doing things, and hopefully we'll be looking at that down the road. But this is something that was always there, and we are appreciative. I want people to understand that we are thankful for what ARL has done.
The bond payoff came just before a Friday deadline. Had Appalachian Racing not paid off the bond, Floyd County taxpayers could have been on the hook for the entire $2.2 million. An inmate at the Floyd County Jail found freedom while being incarcerated Monday. I was there for the emotional moment. When someone's brought through the doors of a detention center, they're often at their lowest point, feeling utterly hopeless. Floyd County jailer Bear Halbert's doing what he can to give those inmates some hope by allowing several different church denominations to come in and minister to those inmates and allow them to love those inmates till they learn to love themselves.
I just think it's good and reassuring for and for church groups to come in and tell these inmates that they're still loved. People still care for them, because a lot of them thinks their families give up on them. They've lost their friends. That nobody wants to do anything, show no compassion or anything. And these church groups come in, and I think it boosts their morale. I think it gets them in better spirits. And then what a better thing than church to do that with.
The inmates are most certainly appreciative of those who come in to minister to them.
I appreciate them putting their heart into it and coming out and baptizing me to wash away all the sins that I've had.
Heather's newfound faith not only gives her a sense of newfound hope, but also gives her a path in a new direction.
To keep believing in God and going to church and being an example for my kids, basically.
For more information on the Floyd County Detention Center's inmate ministry, simply call the number listed on your screen. Reporting from Prestonsburg, I'm Sean Allen for EKB News. Coming up, Michaela Colley will be in with a look back at the week in sports. But first, EKB Chief Meteorologist Lathan Hopkins will be in with a look back at the week in weather. It's coming up next on This Week.
Pikeville Medical Center's vision services now include an optometry clinic. In partnership with the University of Pikeville, Kentucky College of Optometry, PMC provides diagnosis and treatment of eye conditions for the whole family. The optometry clinic is conveniently located on the 9th floor of the PMC clinic. Schedule an appointment today. Call 606-218-2209. Pikeville Medical Center, providing quality eye care to the region.
When you think of radio and TV, you think of your favorite shows and stations. They're local, folks in your neighborhood. Yeah, that's right. They're right there with you, reporting on your weather, driving on your streets and roads, experiencing what your community experiences. Sure, they provide national and world news, but the real message, the real voice, is in your community, reporting on events that are relevant and important to you. This is especially important when your cable or satellite service goes down in a storm. You may not have cable. You might not even have cell service, but your local broadcasters will be there with up-to-date warnings and alerts. They are literally your lifeline to all that matters to you. And your local broadcaster is not just news. They bring you sports, your sports, the games as they happen. Your local broadcaster is there on the radio, on TV, bringing all the excitement directly to you. Your community, your life, is all brought to you by your local broadcasters. Up to date, informed, and important, just for you. We are broadcasters. Your broadcasters.
Do you know someone turning 75 or older, or a couple about to celebrate a wedding anniversary of 50 years or more? Let us celebrate with you. Milestones and Memories will air during EKB TV Evening News at 6, Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can submit your picture and information to milestones@ekbtv.com. Milestones and Memories on EKB TV, brought to you by Thacker Memorial.
Welcome back into This Week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Lathan Hopkins with a look back at your weekend weather, and a typical summertime early July week was experienced all across the region. Partly sunny skies throughout the most of the day, and then once we got a little more heat, a little more humidity, we had those pop-up showers and thunderstorms during the afternoon and evening hours. Temperatures all week have been right where they should be this time of the year. The high temperature should be around 85 degrees, the overnight low about 65. 84 on Monday, a trace of rain. Tuesday, a 1/10 of an inch of rain officially in Jackson, 78 degrees. 84 on Wednesday. And then again, temperatures right at 85 degrees for both Thursday and Friday. The only difference by Friday, we had to deal with a line of some strong to even severe thunderstorms, but things calming down now that we are into the weekend. And as a matter of fact, it's going to feel pretty nice over the weekend as well. We're talking about dew points and the muggy meter. Tolerable for Saturday and even dropping down to near the pleasant category by Sunday. But don't get used to it. Things will begin to change, especially by the day Monday, Tuesday, and by the middle part of the week. It's oppressive. We do have another round of showers and storms moving in by the time we get to midweek, so we have that to contend with as well. Now let's head over to Michaela Colley with a look back at sports.
Hi everyone, I'm Michaela Colley. This week in sports, we had a little bit of everything going on, from baseball to basketball and even some football. With just a little over a month to go before the high school football season, the Betsy Lane Bobcats have headed down a new avenue, naming Scotty McCoy to lead the way. Coach McCoy served as an assistant coach for Lawrence County for 2 seasons and as an assistant coach at Magoffin County for 6 years before becoming the head coach of the Hornets for 3 seasons, compiling a record of 15-18. Coach McCoy led the Hornets to their first ever playoff win in 2014, and in the same year, they captured the district championship. Coach McCoy replaces Jonathan Parsons, who stepped down back in June after 10 seasons. Betsy Lane's first home game of the season is August 18th against Sheldon Clark. Major League Baseball released the 2017 All-Star rosters for this season, and 2 Cincinnati Reds have been listed. Cincinnati's Zach Cozart led the way in the National League votes to become the starting shortstop, making his first All-Star appearance in his 7-year career. Joey Votto's name was also on the list as the National League reserve for first base, finishing behind Nationals' Ryan Zimmerman. This is Votto's 5th All-Star game. Here's Votto's thoughts on the selection.
And it wasn't until I started taking a few years off of making a team that I realized, man, that's something that has a good deal of meaning and something a player can be proud of. It's an event that's amazingly run and exciting to be a part of, and without sounding too, I guess, self-involved, I missed it. I missed being a part of that, and I missed representing Cincinnati. I missed the opportunities in the past.
Team USA is working the court in Cairo, Egypt for a 4-0 start. in the 2017 FIBA U19 World Cup under the direction of Kentucky coach John Calipari. Team USA is just 3 wins away from a gold medal. USA entered the quarterfinals on Friday against Germany, where they came out on top 81-59, advancing to the semifinals to face off with Canada, where the winner of the USA and Canada game will go on to face Spain or Italy in the championship for gold. The Reds got back on the winning side of things this week, winning a series and splitting a series. The Reds got off to a hot start, defeating the Chicago Cubs 2-1 for the series victory early in the week, and then capped off a splitting of a 4-game series 2-2 with the Rockies. And in one of those victories, Homer Bailey picked up his first win on the mound since August of 2016. The Reds sit in last place of the National League Central standings with an overall record of 37-48. Be sure to tune back in next week for more of your sports news. Sean Allen will be right back after this for more news in This Week.
Pikeville Medical Center's emergency department has immediate openings for NPs, RNs, ED technicians, EMTs, and paramedics. PMC is a Level 2 trauma center and is home to an $11.3 million state-of-the-art emergency department and the region's most advanced medical technology. PMC offers great pay and an excellent benefit package. Call 606-218-4908 or visit pikevillehospital.org to apply.
Drivers, start your engine! Load up the family and head on over to the Lonesome Pine Raceway in Coburn, Virginia. Lonesome Pine Raceway has brought excitement to race fans for 45 years and is NASCAR sanctioned. Gates open at 4 p.m. on race days with races beginning at 7 p.m. Admission is $10 adults and children under 12 free. Lonesome Pine Raceway, Coburn, Virginia. Visit thepineraceway.com for race information.
Come and listen to my story about a man named Jed. A poor mountaineer barely kept his family fed. And then one day he was shooting at some food, and up through the ground come a bubbling crude oil, that is, black gold, Texas tea.
The Beverly Hillbilly.
First thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. His kinfolk said, Jed, move away from there. Said California's a place you ought to be, so he loaded up the truck and he moved to EKB TV, that is. Weeknights at 6:30 and 10:30.
Thursday began a new chapter for EKB News as a radio call-in show premiered on Hit City USA. On the Daily Debate, host Gary Sloan focuses on issues of local interest, and callers are invited to contribute on the discussion. On Thursday's first show, for example, Sloan covered topics such as fireworks displays, drug abuse, and health care reform, and of course the hot-button topic of proposed increases in electricity rates.
Well, we just got done doing the first edition, the debut of the Daily Debate here on Hit City USA. The show went well, I thought, and we're going to be back here again tomorrow and Monday through Friday, 3 to 3:30. Tune in to Hit City USA, and we'd love to hear from you, too.
The Daily Debate airs weekdays from 3 to 3:30 on Hit City USA 98.1 and 104.3 FM and 1240 and 1460 AM. There's a musical tradition here unlike anywhere else in America. During this week, we shine a light on part of that musical tradition. So now sit back, relax, and enjoy our mountain music.
It's time now for Mountain Music, being brought to you by the Mountain Arts Center, the main stage of the Country Music Highway.
Drove all night on the 4-lane, crossed the river by sunrise, headed east to the bluegrass with only shadows left behind.
Like a lot of people, I've gone through phases in what I liked, and I think that definitely impacts whether you realize it or not, what your sound is. And so a lot of the songwriters I look up to are like John Prine, and more recently Jason Isbell and Sturgill Simpson and Chris Stapleton and some of those guys. So as far as my songwriting, which I'm doing a lot more now, I think has impacted my sound. Being around Kentucky music and bluegrass, that definitely has an influence too. I couldn't shake the accent if I tried.
you take off on your own. But tonight I had to leave it all in Lincoln, 'cause tonight it's time for me to go back home.
I live in Lexington. There's always something going on. We're playing a lot. It's hard for me to really get inside of a song like I want to. And so for me, my method over the last few years has been to have a collection of notes and scribbles and things, and then go to the woods and create the finished product. I like to just kind of go off the map for a week or so and take a day to settle in, and then spend a few days riding and hiking or whatever's around.
I see a stranger in myself. Sometimes in life you make it when you take off on your own. But tonight I had to leave it all in Lincoln, 'cause tonight it's time for me to go back home.
The song is called Lincoln, and it's on a new album we just put out called Cityscapes and Countrysides. I wrote that song partially about a friend that moved to Lincoln, Nebraska. The song is about somebody that moves to Lincoln and does poorly, or fails more or less, and has to move back home. They're doing great out there, and so it's not necessarily the end of their story, because I think a lot of young people think about moving away, and the fear of failure is what prevents them from doing that. But the song is about somebody who's done that, and then they're able to come back home still. And so it kind of has this twist of no matter what happens, you can always go back home.
But tonight I had to leave it all in Lincoln. Yeah, tonight I had to leave it all in Lincoln, 'cause tonight it's time for me to go back home. Yeah, tonight it's time for me to go back home. Yeah, tonight it's time for me to go back home. Yeah, tonight it's time for me to go back home.
Coming up next, we'll fill you in on an event in your area as we take a look at the week ahead. Stay with us. We'll be right back on This Week.
Pikeville Medical Center has earned the Joint Commission's Gold Seal of Approval and the American Heart Association and American Stroke Association's Heart Checkmark for advanced certification for primary stroke centers. This marks the 8th consecutive year for this honor. PMC demonstrates commitment to the care of stroke patients with a complex set of standards and requirements. Count on Pikeville Medical Center for quality stroke care. Pikeville Medical Center, proud Mayo Clinic Care Network member.
Drivers, start your engine!
Load up the family and head on over to the Lonesome Pine Raceway in Coburn, Virginia. Lonesome Pine Raceway has brought excitement to race fans for 45 years and is NASCAR sanctioned. Gates open at 4 p.m. on race days with races beginning at 7 p.m. Admission is $10 adults and children under 12 free. Lonesome Pine Raceway, Coburn, Virginia. Visit thepineraceway.com for race information.
Hi, I'm EKB News reporter Shelby Still. I grew up in the Belfry area of Pike County and graduated from Belfry High School. I moved just across the river to Williamson, West Virginia. I stayed close to home because I wanted to bring my neighbors and my friends the news that mattered most to them. I'm Shelby Still, and this is EKB News, your only source for truly local news.
Here's an upcoming event that you may be interested in. The second of 3 kayak river runs hosted by the Kayak Bass Tournament Trail will be held next Saturday, July 15th from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Pikeville. For more information, visit their event page, Kayak River Run, on Facebook. I hope you enjoyed our look back at some of the stories that made headlines this week. Be sure to tune in next weekend at 6:30 right here on EKB TV. We leave you now with a look back at some highlights from fireworks at Coal Run Village Monday night. For This Week, I'm Sean Allen. Have a great weekend.